Look, I'm gonna tell you something that nobody wants to admit out loud. There's this dude, right? Let's call him Marcus. 38 years old, living in a decent apartment in Sacramento, drives a nice car, wears clean clothes, got a smartphone, the whole deal. From the outside, he's living the American dream, dude. But here's the twisted part, the part that'll make your stomach turn. Marcus hasn't actually owned anything in his life for the past 12 years. Not one single thing. Every month, like clockwork, money just vanishes from his account. Payments, payments, payments. Car payment, furniture payment, phone payment, credit card minimum, student loan minimum, personal loan minimum. He's not living, bro. He's just paying to exist. And the craziest part? He can't stop. Even if he wanted to, even if he tried, the system won't let him. Marcus is trapped in something way darker than poverty. He's trapped in what I call lifetime payment slavery. And before you think this is just about some random guy who made bad choices, listen up, because this could be you, your homie, your family, or it might already be happening and you don't even realize it yet. Before we dive deeper into Marcus's nightmare, do me a solid real quick. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like. Here's why you can't skip this. I'm exposing the psychological traps that banks, credit companies, and the whole financial system don't want you to see. This isn't about budgeting tips or saving pennies, bro. This is about understanding how they rewire your brain to keep you paying forever. If you want to protect yourself and the people you care about from falling into these credit chains, you need this information. So subscribe, drop a like, and let's get back to Marcus's story, because what happens next is wild. Now, let me take you back to where it all started for Marcus. 7 years ago, he was actually doing alright. Had a decent job at a tech startup in the Bay Area, making around $75K a year. Not rich but comfortable, you feel me? He wasn't struggling. But here's where the psychology gets dark. Marcus started getting these credit card offers in the mail. Pre-approved. 0% interest for 18 months. $20,000 limit. The letters made it sound like he'd be stupid not to take it. Like he was special, chosen. They used words like exclusive and congratulations, like he'd won something. So he took it. Why not, right? Free money for a year and a half. He could pay it off before the interest kicked in. That's what he told himself. That's what they all tell themselves, dude. So Marcus gets this credit card, and at first he's careful with it. He buys normal stuff. Groceries, gas, maybe a nice dinner here and there. He tells himself he's being responsible, that he's got it under control. But here's the thing about having access to money that doesn't feel real, money that's just numbers on a screen. It starts messing with your head in ways you don't even notice at first. The psychological warfare has already begun, and Marcus doesn't even know he's on the battlefield. 3 months in, his laptop dies. He needs it for work, right? So instead of buying a $600 basic one, he thinks, well, I got this credit card with 0 interest, might as well get the good one. $1,500. Top of the line MacBook Pro. Makes sense, he's investing in his career. That's how he justified it. That's how they always justify it. Then his car starts acting up. Transmission issues. The mechanic quotes him $3,000 for repairs. Marcus has maybe $1,000 in savings. Old Marcus, the Marcus from a year ago, would have figured something out. Maybe bought a cheaper used car, maybe taken the bus for a while. But new Marcus with the magic credit card, he just swipes it. Problem solved instantly. No stress, no struggle, just a quick transaction and he's back on the road. You see what's happening here? The credit card isn't just giving him money, it's removing consequences. It's removing the natural pain that would make him stop and think and change his behavior. It's like a painkiller, dude, and he's getting addicted without even realizing it. 6 months pass. Marcus has been living slightly above his means, not crazy, just a little bit more than he makes. Eating out more often, buying nicer clothes, upgrading his apartment to a better spot in downtown Sac because hey, he deserves it, right? He's working hard. The credit card balance is now sitting at around $12,000. He's not worried though because he's still in that 0% interest window. He's got a plan. He's gonna pay it off. But then life does what life does. His company downsizes. They don't fire him, but they cut his hours, cut his salary by 20%. Now he's making $60K instead of $75. That $15,000 difference might not sound huge, but when you're living paycheck to paycheck, when you've built your lifestyle around a certain income, that cut is devastating, bro. The 18-month zero interest period ends. Marcus still has $11,000 on the card. He'd paid off a bit, but not enough, not even close. Now the interest kicks in. 23.9% APR. You know what that means in real terms? That $11,000 is now costing him about $220 a month just in interest. Just for the privilege of owing money. He's not even touching the principal. The minimum payment is $350, which means only $130 is actually going toward what he owes. At this rate, it would take him decades to pay it off, and he'd end up paying like $30,000 total for $11,000 of purchases. The math is predatory, dude. It's designed to trap you. But here's where it gets really dark, where the psychological prison walls start closing in. Marcus starts looking at his options. He's stressed, losing sleep, his mental health is tanking. He goes online, searches for solutions, and guess what pops up? More credit cards, balance transfer offers, personal loans, debt consolidation. The algorithm knows he's desperate, and it feeds him more chains disguised as solutions. He sees an ad for a personal loan, 12% interest, way better than 24%, right? He could pay off the credit card, consolidate everything into one lower payment. Seems smart. Seems like the responsible adult thing to do. So he does it. He takes out a $15,000 personal loan, pays off the credit card, and has $3,000 left over, which he tells himself is for emergencies. Now Marcus has a $400 a month loan payment for the next 5 years. But remember, he also got his salary cut, so money is tight. Real tight. The credit card is paid off, but he doesn't close it. Why would he? It's there for emergencies. Except emergencies keep happening. His phone screen cracks. His apartment needs a security deposit for a lease renewal. His friend is getting married and he needs to buy a gift, rent a tux, travel to the wedding. Small things, couple hundred here, couple hundred there. Within 6 months, that credit card that he paid off, it's back up to $4,000. And now he's got the personal loan payment and the credit card payment. He's in deeper than before, but it happened so gradually, so reasonably, that he didn't even see it coming. This is the trap, bro. This is what they don't tell you in school, what your parents probably don't even understand themselves. The system isn't designed for you to pay off debt. It's designed to keep you in debt forever, making minimum payments, staying just barely afloat, never drowning completely but never reaching the shore either. You become a permanent revenue stream. A subscription service for banks. They don't want you to default because then they lose you. They want you right here, in this sweet spot of manageable misery, paying forever. Marcus is now a prisoner and his sentence is indefinite. The psychological weight starts crushing him. He can't sleep. He's irritable. His relationships suffer. He starts avoiding his friends because he can't afford to go out, but he's too ashamed to admit why. He feels like a failure, like he's the only one struggling because everyone around him seems fine. But that's the illusion, dude. They're all in chains too. They're just really good at hiding it. 2 years into this cycle, Marcus is completely numb. He's given up on paying off the debt. He's accepted his reality as permanent. He makes his minimum payments like clockwork because he has to, because if he doesn't, his credit score tanks and then he really can't function in society. Can't rent an apartment, can't get a car, can't get a decent job in some industries. His credit score has become more important than his actual well-being. He's working a job he hates, staying in situations that hurt him, all to keep those payments flowing. The money he earns doesn't even feel like his anymore. It flows through his account like water through a pipe, coming in from his employer and going right back out to creditors. He's just the middleman in his own life, bro. He's not living for himself. He's living to service debt. And the craziest part? Marcus isn't even a worst-case scenario. He's average. This is normal now. Now here's where the story takes a turn that nobody sees coming, and this is where you start to understand what money really does to the human soul. Marcus hits rock bottom on a random Tuesday afternoon. He's sitting in his car in a parking lot, staring at his bank account on his phone. Payday just hit. His check was $2,300 after taxes. He watches the money appear in his account, and within seconds, literal seconds, the automatic payments start draining it. $400 to the personal loan. $250 minimum to the credit card. $300 for student loans he'd almost forgotten about from a degree he never finished. $150 for his car payment. Before he even touches the money, before he can buy food or pay rent, $900 is just gone. Vanished. And he starts laughing, dude. Not because it's funny, but because something inside him breaks. He's been working 50 hours a week, sacrificing his time, his health, his relationships, and almost half his paycheck disappears before he can even see it. He's not earning money anymore. He's harvesting it for someone else. That night, Marcus does something he hasn't done in years. He adds up everything. All of it. Every debt, every payment, every dollar he owes. The total makes him physically sick. $68,000. Between credit cards, personal loans, student debt, and his car, he owes $68,000, and his interest payments alone are costing him almost $900 a month. That's $10,800 a year just for the privilege of being in debt. Money he's paying that doesn't reduce what he owes, doesn't buy him anything, doesn't improve his life in any way. It's just tribute. He's paying tribute to financial institutions like a peasant in a medieval kingdom, bro. And here's the revelation that changes everything for Marcus, the thing that starts to wake him up from this nightmare. He realizes that the debt isn't even the real problem anymore. The real problem is what the debt has done to his identity, to his soul, to who he is as a human being. Because somewhere along the way, Marcus stopped making decisions based on what he wanted or what was right or what made him happy. Every single choice he makes now is filtered through debt. Should he quit his toxic job? Can't, need the steady income for payments. Should he move to a cheaper city where he could actually save money? Can't, his credit score won't survive a job gap. Should he go back to school and finish his degree? Can't afford to take on more loans, can't afford to stop working. Should he start that business idea he's been dreaming about? Too risky, payments are due regardless of whether the business succeeds. The debt has become his master, and he's reorganized his entire existence around serving it. He's not pursuing dreams anymore. He's not building a life. He's just surviving month to month, payment to payment, and calling it adulting. Calling it responsibility. But is it really responsibility, or is it just obedience to a system that benefits from his suffering? Marcus starts digging deeper, starts researching, trying to understand how he got here. And what he discovers makes him feel like he's been living in the Matrix, bro. He learns about something called the debt-to-income ratio and how banks actually want it high. They want you leveraged because that's when you're most profitable. He learns about minimum payments and how they're mathematically designed to keep you in debt for decades. He discovers that credit card companies literally have entire psychological research teams studying how to make you spend more, how to make you feel comfortable with debt, how to rewire your brain to see credit as money instead of obligation. He finds out that some of the biggest credit card companies spend millions on behavioral psychology research, the same kind of research casinos use to keep people gambling. They know exactly what they're doing and it's working perfectly. But here's the really messed up part, the part that almost breaks Marcus completely. He realizes he's not just a victim of the system. He's also become complicit in it. Because debt changes you, man. It changes how you see the world, how you see other people. Marcus catches himself judging his younger coworker who lives with roommates and drives a beat-up Honda, thinking, dude needs to grow up and get his life together. But then he realizes that coworker is actually winning. No debt, low expenses, saving money, free to make choices. Meanwhile, Marcus is wearing designer clothes and driving a leased BMW but can't afford to miss a single paycheck without his entire life collapsing. He's built a prison and called it success. He's confused consumption with achievement. The debt didn't just take his money. It took his ability to see clearly, to think clearly, to know what actually matters. And then Marcus has an encounter that changes his perspective forever. He's at a coffee shop, and he overhears this older guy, probably in his 60s, talking to someone about retirement. The guy is stressed, panicking, saying he thought he'd be retired by now but he's still working because he's got debt. Credit cards, a home equity loan, car payments. At 63 years old, this dude is still trapped in the same cycle Marcus is in, except he's been in it for 40 years. 40 years of payments. 40 years of working to service debt. 40 years of his life force being extracted and converted into profit for financial institutions. And Marcus realizes with absolute horror that he's looking at his future. Unless something changes, he's going to be that guy. He's going to work until he physically can't anymore, and he's still going to die owing money. The American dream has become the American death sentence, and most people are serving it without even realizing they're in prison. But here's where it gets really interesting, where the story reveals its true darkness. Marcus starts talking to people about debt, really talking about it, breaking the taboo. And he discovers that almost everyone he knows is in the same situation or worse. His friend who always seems to have money? $40,000 in credit card debt. His coworker with a nice house? Underwater on the mortgage and has 3 maxed out cards. His sister who just bought a new car? 6-year loan at 8% interest on a depreciating asset. Everyone is drowning, but everyone is pretending they're swimming. The conspiracy isn't that some evil organization is forcing people into debt. The conspiracy is that we've collectively agreed to pretend that lifetime debt is normal, that it's just how life works, that there's no other way. We've normalized financial slavery and called it adulthood. We've turned voluntary servitude into a status symbol. The nicer your chains look, the more successful you're considered. Marcus discovers something that the financial institutions pray you never figure out. The system only works if you believe there's no way out. It only works if you accept debt as permanent, if you make peace with payments, if you adjust your life around obligation instead of possibility. The moment you reject that programming, the moment you say, "I'm not doing this anymore," everything shifts. But here's the catch, and this is what makes it so diabolically brilliant. Escaping requires sacrifice. Real sacrifice. The kind that feels like social suicide. It means driving a car that's embarrassing. It means living in a place that's not impressive. It means saying no to experiences that everyone else is having. It means being willing to look broke while you're actually building wealth. And most people can't do it, not because they don't have the discipline, but because they can't handle the social judgment, the feeling of being left behind, the shame of downgrading their lifestyle. The chains aren't just financial, bro. They're psychological, social, emotional. We're trapped by our own need for approval, for status, for the appearance of having made it. And here's what Marcus finally understands, the revelation that changes everything. Money doesn't just trap you financially. It rewires your soul. It changes what you value, who you trust, how you see yourself, what you're willing to sacrifice. Marcus realizes he spent years trading his life force for things that don't matter, for status that's hollow, for comfort that's actually captivity. He's been so busy trying to look successful that he forgot to actually become free. And the saddest part? The system is designed to make you forget what freedom even means. You're so exhausted from working to pay debts that you don't have energy to question whether this is how life should be. You're so distracted by trying to keep up that you never stop to ask where you're going or why. The debt isn't just taking your money. It's taking your capacity to imagine a different life. It's stealing your future while convincing you that you're building one. Hold up real quick, I want to know what you're thinking right now. What's hitting you from Marcus's story? Drop a comment below. Have you ever felt trapped by payments like this? Do you know someone stuck in this cycle? Maybe you're living it right now and finally seeing it clearly for the first time. Share your story, your thoughts, your experience. I read every single comment, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to wake up. This conversation matters, and it helps me keep bringing you content like this that actually tells the truth. But yo, don't go anywhere yet, because what I'm about to tell you in the next part is the thing that nobody talks about, the hidden mechanism that keeps this whole system running, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Stay with me. So Marcus is awake now. He sees the chains. He understands the trap. But understanding the prison doesn't mean you know how to escape it, and this is where the story gets really real, where we dive into what money actually does to the human soul at the deepest level. Because Marcus starts noticing things he never paid attention to before. He notices how his entire personality has changed since he went into debt. He used to be generous, the type of dude who'd buy a round of drinks for friends, help someone out with gas money, donate to causes he cared about. But now he's calculated. Cold even. Every dollar is spoken for, every expense is analyzed. He's not generous anymore because he can't afford to be, and somewhere along the way that scarcity mindset infected everything. He stopped being the person he wanted to be because debt forced him to become someone else. Someone smaller. Someone fearful. Someone who counts every penny not because he's wise, but because he's trapped. And it's not just generosity. Marcus realizes he's lost his ability to take risks, to trust his instincts, to follow opportunities that don't have guaranteed outcomes. A friend approaches him about investing in a small business together. It's a good idea, something Marcus would have jumped on years ago. But now, he can't. Not because he doesn't believe in it, but because he can't risk missing his debt payments. His friend goes forward without him, and 6 months later the business is thriving. Marcus missed out, not because he lacked vision or courage originally, but because debt amputated those parts of him. It cut off his ability to bet on himself, to pursue potential, to step into uncertainty. The debt turned him into a cog, someone who can only follow predetermined paths, someone who has to choose security over possibility every single time. And the tragedy is that he's not securing anything. He's just slowly dying in a comfortable cage. But here's where it gets even darker, where you start to see how debt doesn't just change individuals, it changes entire societies, entire cultures. Marcus looks around and realizes that everyone his age is trapped in the same pattern. Nobody owns anything. Everybody's leasing, financing, paying monthly for everything. Cars, phones, furniture, even software and music now. Everything is subscription-based, payment-based, perpetual obligation. And you know what that means in practical terms? It means nobody has leverage. Nobody can afford to quit a bad job because payments are due. Nobody can protest, organize, demand change because they're 2 paychecks away from losing everything. The debt isn't just a financial tool, bro. It's a control mechanism. It's how you keep an entire population compliant, obedient, too exhausted and afraid to challenge anything. You don't need authoritarian government when you've got credit card bills. The payments do the oppressing for you. Marcus starts seeing debt everywhere and everything. He sees it in how people stay in toxic relationships because they can't afford to live alone. He sees it in how people tolerate abuse at work because they need the health insurance to cover the stress-related illnesses caused by the job. He sees it in how parents can't spend time with their kids because they're working overtime to pay for things the kids don't even need but society says they should have. The debt becomes this invisible puppeteer, pulling strings, making people dance, orchestrating an entire society of exhausted, anxious, compliant workers who are too busy surviving to ever actually live. And the most insidious part is that it's voluntary. Nobody forced Marcus to take that first credit card. Nobody held a gun to his head. He walked into the trap because it was beautifully disguised as opportunity, as freedom, as adult responsibility. So Marcus makes a decision. A radical one. He's gonna get out whatever it takes. But here's what nobody tells you about escaping debt. Here's the part that makes it almost impossible even when you're committed. Getting out requires you to become a different person, to adopt a lifestyle that society will judge you for, to make choices that will make you look like you're going backwards. Marcus sits down and creates what he calls his freedom plan, and it's brutal, dude. He's gonna sell his car and buy a $3,000 beater with cash. He's gonna move out of his nice apartment and rent a room in someone's house for half the price. He's gonna cancel every subscription, every convenience, every small luxury. He's gonna work his main job and pick up a side hustle, maybe two. He's gonna eat rice and beans, shop at thrift stores, cut his own hair. He's gonna pour every extra dollar into the smallest debt first, then snowball that momentum into the next one. On paper, it's simple math. But in reality, it's psychological warfare. Because the moment Marcus starts implementing this plan, the judgment comes hard. His friends think he's having a breakdown. His family thinks he's being extreme. His coworkers make jokes about his old car, his cheap clothes. Women he tries to date lose interest when they see how he lives. Society is sending him a clear message that what he's doing is wrong, that he's failing, that he's regressing. And the crazy part is that he's actually winning for the first time in years. He's building real wealth, real freedom, real options. But it looks like poverty, so everyone around him thinks he's lost. This is the test, bro. This is where most people break and go back to the comfortable chains. Because humans aren't just afraid of being poor. They're terrified of looking poor. We'll tolerate actual financial slavery as long as we can maintain the appearance of success. Marcus holds strong though. 3 months in, he pays off his first credit card. It's only a $2,500 balance, his smallest one, but when it hits zero, something shifts inside him. It's not even about the money anymore. It's about agency. It's about proving to himself that he's not powerless, that he can change his trajectory, that he's not permanently trapped. He takes that credit card, cuts it up, and feels something he hasn't felt in years. Hope. Real hope, not the fake hope that comes from buying something new, but the deep hope that comes from seeing evidence that you can actually change your life through sustained effort. He keeps going. 6 months in, he's paid off $12,000 of debt. His car is embarrassing, but it's paid off. His room is small, but the rent is manageable. He's working 60 hours a week between his job and side hustles, and he's exhausted, but it's a different kind of tired. He's tired from building something instead of tired from treading water. But here's what Marcus discovers about the journey out of debt, and this is crucial. The escape isn't just about math and discipline. It's about confronting who you became while you were trapped and deciding who you want to be on the other side. Every payment he makes toward debt is also a payment toward his self-respect. Every month he stays committed is proof that he's stronger than his circumstances. The debt trapped him physically, but escaping it is freeing him psychologically, spiritually even. He starts to remember what it feels like to make choices based on what he actually wants instead of what he can afford in monthly payments. He starts to imagine a future that's not just an extension of his current struggle. He starts to feel like a person again instead of a payment-making machine. 1 year into his journey, Marcus is sitting in that same parking lot where he had his breakdown, and he looks at his bank account. He's paid off $30,000 of debt. $30,000 in 12 months through sacrifice, strategy, and sheer will. He's got $38,000 left to go, but the momentum is building. More importantly, he's different now. The debt didn't just take from him, it also taught him. It taught him what matters and what doesn't. It taught him the difference between needing and wanting. It taught him that status is a trap, that appearance is a lie, that real wealth is freedom, not stuff. He's learned that the human soul shrinks under obligation and expands under autonomy. He's learned that you can't buy happiness, but you can definitely rent misery at 24% APR. And here's the deepest truth Marcus discovers, the thing that changes his entire worldview. Money doesn't just affect your finances. It reveals your values, tests your character, exposes your fears. When you're in debt, money controls you, and that control corrupts everything. It corrupts your relationships because every interaction has a financial calculation behind it. It corrupts your work because you're not pursuing meaning, you're just chasing payments. It corrupts your self-worth because you start measuring your value by your net worth. It corrupts your time because you're always trading hours for dollars instead of investing energy into what actually matters. The debt doesn't just trap your bank account, bro. It colonizes your entire consciousness. It becomes the lens through which you see everything, and that lens is distorted, fear-based, scarcity-focused. But the beautiful and terrifying truth that Marcus finally accepts is this: freedom is available, but it requires you to die to the person you've been and resurrect as someone new. It requires you to kill the version of yourself that needs approval, that craves status, that measures life by possessions. It requires you to become someone who can be content with less, who can find joy in progress instead of stuff, who can define success by autonomy instead of appearance. The journey out of debt isn't just financial, it's spiritual. It's about reclaiming your soul from a system that commodified it. And most people never make it because they're not willing to go through that death and rebirth. They'd rather stay trapped in familiar misery than risk the unknown territory of actual freedom. Marcus isn't all the way out yet. He's still got years of work ahead of him. But he's no longer a slave. He's a prisoner executing an escape plan, and there's a massive difference between those two identities. One is helpless. The other is strategic. One is permanent. The other is temporary. And that shift in identity, that reclaiming of personal power, that's worth more than any amount of money. Because here's what money really does to the soul when you let it control you. It convinces you that you're small, powerless, stuck. But when you fight back, when you take control, when you refuse to accept debt as destiny, you discover something incredible. You're stronger than you thought. You're more capable than you believed. And freedom, real freedom, is not a fantasy. It's a choice you make every single day, one payment at a time, one sacrifice at a time, one act of defiance against a system that profits from your surrender. So where's Marcus now? 2.5 years into his journey, and he's down to $8,000 of debt. $8,000 from the original $68,000. He's not completely free yet, but he can see the finish line, and that visibility changes everything. He's a different human being now. Leaner, sharper, more intentional. He doesn't make impulse purchases anymore. He doesn't confuse spending with happiness. He doesn't measure his worth by what he owns. The debt tried to break him, and in a way it did, but what emerged from that breaking is stronger than what existed before. He's no longer living for payments. He's building towards something real, something that belongs to him, something that can't be repossessed or leveraged or used against him. But here's the final truth, the one that ties everything together. Marcus realizes that the real trap was never just the debt itself. It was the story he told himself about the debt, the belief that it was permanent, inevitable, just the way life works. The moment he rejected that story and wrote a new one, the chains started breaking. Not instantly, not easily, but steadily. Freedom isn't found in a single moment or a magic solution. Freedom is built in the boring, unglamorous daily choices that nobody sees and nobody celebrates. It's built in the no you say when everyone else says yes. It's built in the sacrifice you make when comfort is available. It's built in the long game when everyone around you is playing short. And this is what money ultimately does to the soul, the final revelation. It doesn't corrupt you by existing. It corrupts you when you let it define you, when you organize your entire life around acquiring it or paying it or protecting it. Money is supposed to be a tool, but for most people, it becomes an identity, a measuring stick, a master. Marcus learned that you can't serve money and be free simultaneously. You have to choose. And most people never consciously make that choice, so the choice gets made for them by default, and they end up serving without ever meaning to. They end up as payment-making machines wondering why life feels empty despite having all the stuff they were told would make them happy. The hidden debt trap isn't just about interest rates and minimum payments, bro. It's about the slow theft of your life force, your potential, your time, your peace of mind. It's about waking up one day and realizing you've spent decades working to make someone else rich while calling it your career. It's about looking back and seeing that you traded experiences for possessions, relationships for status, freedom for the appearance of success. And the only way out, the real way out, isn't a hack or a trick or a shortcut. It's a complete reorientation of values. It's deciding that autonomy matters more than approval, that peace matters more than prestige, that owning your time matters more than owning nice things. Marcus still has moments of doubt. Days where he looks at his friends posting vacation photos while he's working overtime. Moments where he feels like he's missing out, falling behind, wasting his youth on sacrifice. But then he remembers what it felt like to be trapped, to have no options, to be enslaved by monthly payments. And he knows, deep in his core, that temporary sacrifice for permanent freedom is the only trade worth making. The debt slavery system is counting on you not believing that. It's counting on you choosing comfort now over freedom later. It's counting on you being too impatient, too status conscious, too afraid of judgment to make the hard choices. And for most people, that bet pays off. They stay trapped forever, paying until they die, passing debt mindset to their kids, perpetuating the cycle. But not Marcus. Not anymore. He broke the cycle. He's still breaking it every single day. And his story isn't unique or special or extraordinary. It's just rare. Rare because most people never wake up. Rare because most people can't handle the social cost of escape. Rare because most people would rather stay comfortable in chains than uncomfortable in transition toward freedom. But it's available, bro. The exit is real. You just have to want it badly enough to endure the judgment, the sacrifice, the years of living below your means while building above your circumstances. You have to want freedom more than you want to look free. And that's where most people fail. Look, Marcus's story doesn't end here, and honestly, neither does this conversation. What I just showed you is the surface level of how the financial system is designed to trap you, but there's another layer that goes even deeper, and it's even more disturbing. I'm talking about how they use your own psychology against you, how they gamify your behavior, how they literally engineer addiction to spending using the same neuroscience that casinos use. I break all of that down in my next video, and trust me, once you see those mechanisms, you'll never look at marketing, credit offers, or even your own impulses the same way again. If Marcus's story hit you, if something clicked in your brain watching this, then you need to see the next part, because that's where we go from understanding the trap to actually dismantling it in your own life. I'm not talking about basic budgeting advice, dude. I'm talking about psychological warfare tactics you can use to reprogram your relationship with money completely. Click the video on your screen right now. Don't wait. Don't scroll away. This information could literally change the trajectory of your entire life, and I'm not being dramatic. The system is betting that you won't watch it, that you'll get distracted, that you'll go back to sleep. Prove them wrong. Click now and let's finish what we started. I'll see you there.